Good evening and welcome to another episode of Around the Mick. We are here live at the Tom Wood Nissan car dealership, and 'tis the season for gifts, and we have a special gift for you. As you know, the Mick Conference is home to some of the top basketball players in the state, and we have a few of them here today. And as you know, to get to the top of your game, you can't do it alone. So we're not only talking to them, we're talking to parents, and we're talking to coaches. You do not want to miss tonight's episode of Around the Mick, so stay tuned. You're watching Around the Mick.
Tom Wood's lifetime powertrain coverage includes the 4 most important systems in your vehicle for unlimited miles and unlimited time at no cost to you. Protection from expensive repairs for a lifetime. Find the car you want the way you want at tomwood.com.
Thank you, Colin Pop Jones. Cumberland, this is Kyle speaking.
Welcome back to Around the Mick here, and Bill White here sitting in for Kyle Nettenrip. Sat in a couple weeks ago with the Players of the Year presentation, and back again with the last show of 2020. Colin Eccles with me, and we're going to talk a little bit about the football season, just kind of like a little recap so that we can kind of put it to bed. It was a weird season, 2020, a weird year, obviously. Don't have to tell anybody that, but let's talk about the season that was. Center Grove winning the state championship and allowing the Mick Conference to win another state title, their 10th in a row in top flight Indiana football. And so you have to go all the way back to 2010 in Fishers in 5A. So the creation of 6A, Center Grove adding another state title in football to the Mick Conference.
Yeah, I mean, it just proves that in the past 10 years, the Mick Conference has been completely dominant. Powerhouses, Center Grove, Warren Central, Carmel, Ben Davis. You look at those 4 alone, I mean, they've been at the top of the game for obviously 10 years now and even years before that.
Absolutely. 14-0, beat Westfield 38-14, but it was not always an easy path for Center Grove.
No, there were a couple times this year where it seemed that they got a little bit complacent. You look at their game against Cathedral, 13 seconds left in the game, they pull out the win. I believe 18-13 was the final score of that. Obviously a very talented Cathedral team, but I mean, Center Grove, they were a big powerhouse for the rest of that season.
Absolutely. And in Carmel, as you mentioned, 9-3, former state champions, and you know, something to where they got a little bit tripped up on their way to try to get back to seeing Center Grove in a possible scenario to where they can get back to a state championship level team, but just got a little tripped up there in regionals.
Yeah, tripped up by the Ben Davis Giants, one of the 4 teams I mentioned as well. It's been on top. Ben Davis, kind of a sleeper team throughout the year. Didn't have the biggest standout season ever, but they didn't have a terrible season at all. Took down Carmel in regionals, and then obviously move on to take on a very good Center Grove team. Absolutely,
and of course Ben Davis ran into that buzzsaw at semi-state, 48-13. Center Grove, and it was something to where we knew it was, you know, a likely outcome, but you still have to play the football game, and unfortunately for the Giant fans, you know, it just couldn't figure out a way to get past those Center Grove Trojans.
Yeah, I mean, for a while, like you said, you got to play the football game. For a while, Ben Davis was right there with them. I believe it was 13-13 the middle of the 3rd quarter, and then, you know, Center Grove, they got that switch that they can flip, and from that point on, total domination, they just took off.
And don't forget LN, a great season there, 7-4 in the Mick. And talk a little bit about, though, the standout performers that you saw throughout the year.
Yeah, and starting with one of Lawrence North's top receivers, Omar Cooper, 1,100 yards on the year, 110 per game, 29 per catch, with 13 touchdowns on the year. I mean, he's been balling out. He's only a junior, 1 more year after this, already seeing offers from the SEC. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the coming years.
Give me one other top performer that you saw.
The other one that I had was coming from the state championship team, Center Grove, in Connor Delp. 200 yards rushing, 800 yards in the air, double what he had the previous year, and then 8 touchdowns for him total on the year. So Connor Delp, also a big threat to be reckoned with as well.
I'll take those fantasy stats any day. Absolutely. Well, that'll do it for us in the football recap, as we've got set up here for another guest coming up with Aaliyah.
Thanks, Bill. I'm here with Jayla Smith, senior guard at Lawrence North. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. So we know you as the amazing basketball player that you are today. Did you ever consider any other sports growing up?
I did. I considered playing like volleyball or softball, but I just stuck with my favorite basketball.
Were you any good at those sports?
Just a little bit. Just like my friends teaching me the fundamentals and stuff, but I just really stuck with basketball. That was like my favorite thing to do, so.
That's where your heart's at.
Yes.
All right, moving on. Recently, our first MIC Network girls basketball game of the season was Lawrence North, and you actually joined the 1,000 Point Club. Tell us a little bit about that. What were you feeling?
Well, with me getting my 1,000 points, I didn't know. I think with Coach Giff, he didn't really want to tell me at first because he didn't want me thinking about it. I don't think I really wanted to think about it either, but it was exciting, especially in the middle of the game when I hit the 1,000 point, like stopping it, and people congratulating me. It was a special moment. I know a lot of girls want to get that, so it was very fun for me to get that.
Speaking of another special moment, you hit a game winner not too long ago. Can you tell us a little bit about that game?
With that, it was good. I would say without my teammates, that wouldn't have happened. You know, I had Sydney, one of our post players. She hit 2 free throws to tie the game up, and then we were just going back and forth at that point. And then we had got a jump ball with my teammate Shamaria. She grabbed the ball. We got a jump ball. We got our possession. I came down. You know, we sort of drew up something, but it was like sort of like an isolation for me, and I was looking just to put the ball in the basket at that point.
When the ball left your hand, were you like, money is good?
For the most part, yes, I did. I saw the ball going in, but yeah, it was good.
Good, I love that confidence. All right, let's talk about your goals for the season. You are state champion, coming back. You're the leader of this team now. How does that feel? What goals do you have for everyone?
You know, just actually their main goal is really to win. You know, with us last year, we know we had some good players that are in college now. Just us winning, we just want to not rush it. We want to take it game by game, getting better, and it really starts at practice and in the film, and just not rushing it. We know we had to do a lot of things to get back where we were last year. So yeah.
All right, this is our final question. Can you give us your best impression of Coach?
Best impression, Giff does. He probably go in the locker room, say at halftime when we're in the locker room, he keeps us motivated and tells us things. He'll be like, girls, just keep your head up or something like that. But yeah, he gets us good motivated.
Very cool, calm, and collected to see him on the sidelines. And you can tell by the way you guys come out cool, calm, and collected and level-headed. So when we come back, we're going to sit down with Jayla and her coach. Make sure you stay tuned. You're watching Around the Mic.
At Tom Wood, we believe you can't put a price on peace of mind, so we don't. With Tom Wood's lifetime powertrain coverage, you're protected for unlimited miles and unlimited time, all at no cost to you. Find the car you want the way you want at tomwood.com.
Welcome back to Around the Mic. Bill White here with a couple of pretty special guests here. Jayla Smith, Coach Giffen. First off, guys, I like the attire. I wish I could have gotten the memo. But first talk about last year. And let's go back to, to that state title. You're there, Bankers Life Fieldhouse. You just won. Jayla, what was that feeling like?
The feeling, it was great. Well, if you go back to last year, you also go to the year before that with us losing in the state game. But then after that, the following season, my junior year, we just decided to we wanted to win that actually real bad, especially with the girls. We lost one girl, a senior, so we was pretty much the same team. So we just worked every practice, every game. We got better. Coaching, all the coaches, we just figured out stuff that we wanted to do good. And with Giff, he noticed things that we did, and we figured out the good from the bad, and we just fixed things. So me winning, my team and I, junior year, was just an exciting thing to experience, and all the fans that we had and all the supporters that we had, so it was a good feeling.
Coach, you get there, you go through that whole entire season, you go through the trials like what Jayla just talked about. From your standpoint, this is your first head coaching position. You've been there since 2012, though, but this is the kind of success, though, that you probably thought of when you first took the job at Lawrence North.
Yeah, I was lucky when I took the head girls job. I inherited a pretty talented group of young ladies, and we did some incredible things, but there was always one thing that we seemed to not be able to get over, whether it be an injury to a key player or the venue for the game being at another team's home court or whatnot. So we had gone to the Final Four a couple times, but then Jayla's sophomore year, we go back, win the Final Four game, get the Bankers Life, and we're very, very close. And actually had an injury in that game to one of our girls, Lauren Gunn, who's now at Valpo. And then basically from that point forward, I think Jayla, along with those other girls, made a determination that they were going to do it right the next time, and no matter what was in front of them, they were going to find a way to cut the nets down, which is what ultimately happened.
You've seen this player that's sitting next to us here. You've seen her since probably before she was a freshman. You've seen her growth. You've seen the evolution of her as a basketball player. What's changed? What did you see early on, that raw talent that you saw that Jayla had, compared to where she's sitting now as senior and the leader of the Wildcats?
Well, when I saw her the first time that I saw her, she was in one of our Lawrence youth leagues, and she had a Tamika Catchings jersey on, and she's probably tired of hearing this, but literally it went down to about her ankles, and she was she's a little stronger now for sure, and I say that obviously glowingly. But she's always had a very good basketball body in terms of the range, the length, the athleticism, and you could see that then. She had great ball handling ability when I first noticed her, could shoot it, and really those things have just been enhanced based on her own work ethic over the years. And she's definitely the most overall gifted player that I've ever coached, which is saying a lot. We've had a lot of great players, and I tell people this every day that ask. Jayla's the #1 in terms of those special qualities, and then she really wants to win as much as any really good player that I've ever had. I mean, she is a very competitive person, and I think her maturity and her mental components catching up with a lot of her physical abilities is really what's propelled her to the level that she's at now, which I can't think there's anybody better for Miss Basketball in the state, given what she's done and what the team has accomplished based on her lead. And so it's fun. It's fun to get to coach her.
Well, vice versa now. Going in as a freshman, being able to see what Coach Giffin's all about, getting the idea of what it's like to be able to play varsity at a high level, at probably, in my opinion, the best conference in the state. So talk about when you first got in there, you first got into the team, and then that moment that you realized how special this connection was going to be and how special this team was going to be.
Well, I'll start off I met Giff in middle school. He hosted the camp, so younger girls that weren't in high school could come to. So I came to that, and Coach Giff really showed he cared. He actually cares, and he cares about he just cares about every player that he has. And I just say with me going to the camps and competing against other girls, he saw me stand out, and he really wanted me to come to the school. So I really enjoyed school and the girls that were older than me, and the girls that are graduated now in college or graduated college, and I really liked the school. And I would say really it was all about the bonding that everybody shared, especially with me and me being new. So, and with Giff, you really cared, and with me, my college decision, and me playing through other years and every four year. Like, it was just so special to me. So yeah.
Well, I know that's a bond that most parents they want to hear this, they want to be able to see this, and be able to evolve that type of relationship. How tough is it though? Because sometimes it's just, especially with the last few years. I mean, you had a state title run and then COVID hit. So how tough was it to be able to continue to develop those bonds throughout this process?
Me or Jay?
Both.
Oh, I go ahead. Well, with COVID, I mean, we all, especially from last year, I mean, before COVID, my teammates and coaches, we're all very close. But COVID was actually different, so we didn't know what to expect, especially like, how girls' games get canceled and you don't know anything can happen. Anybody can go on quarantine and stuff like that. So we really prepared for other things and sort of getting ready to expect things that would probably come our way. But our bonding, like, even off the court, we'll talk, text, or group message and everything like that.
Zoom
so.
meeting,
Yeah, Zoom. we'll do everything to stay in contact and to keep our bonding close. So yeah.
I agree with what Jayla said. It's been tougher. I'm a big relationship person and kind of this may come off wrong, but a touchy-feely. I enjoy being with the girls and us doing things together and having meals and hanging out and getting to do things that are non-basketball. And obviously we haven't been able to do any of that. Off the court, it's been a lot of texting. We did do some Zooms early on when nobody knew what was going on. But now that we're practicing, obviously that helps some. But there's still, that obviously the safety protocol and everything with COVID limits what we can do and the time that we can spend together. But we're doing our best, just like any team, I'm sure, to try and combat that. And it helps to have a leader, a senior leader like Jay, to help. Drive home some of my messages and knowing that she's been there before and knows what kind of I expect and want, and she's obviously of the player capability that she's going to get, demand that respect from the younger girls.
Last one, Jay. If for those girls who have been watching you, those girls in the Yellen community that are going to come up and possibly one day play for Coach Giff, what would you tell them? How would you tell them to approach Coach, and how would you tell them to approach playing for Lawrence North?
First, you're making the right decision, especially playing under Coach Giff and just being in LN playing for the team. The girls have come up to me and have asked. I'm like, yeah, you're making the right decision. But some girls will probably be just asking me or just wanted me to talk to them, basically. So yeah, I just start off saying you're making the right decision and things like that.
Guys, thank you so much for being on the show, Around the Mick. Continued luck, and especially not only in the regular season in the Mick, but hopefully we can get a state tournament together, and hopefully, COVID willing, we'll be able to get everything going come the spring. Okay. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Bill. I'm here with Brian Waddell. How are you today?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. So we want to get to know you just a little bit more. We know that you're a phenomenal player on the court, but we want to get to know you outside of the, game a little bit. Speaking of sports, was basketball always the only sport that you played growing up?
No, growing up I also played baseball and football. So.
And when did you decide to make the switch to, I'm going to focus on basketball?
Pretty much when I went into middle school is when I decided it was strictly going to be basketball from there on.
Is that around the time your growth spurt hit?
Right, yeah. Right.
Moving on. You guys had a big win this past weekend. Tell us a little bit about that.
Big win against Lawrence Central. It was just one of those games where we got off to a great start and just didn't look back from there. You can see those first few shots go down, and it just really carries out throughout the game.
Yes, an amazing game. We saw those highlights on our Instagram earlier this week. And man, if you missed it, you missed out. It was a great game. Growing up, you came from a household dad played at Purdue. What was it like being, coached by him and learning the game from him?
Well, you obviously can't ask for a much better role model. Somebody who knows what it's like to go through it and been through it, and just a great person to learn from, and just can't ask for much more.
When's the last time you two played one-on-one?
It's been a few years. I think he's at the point now where he knows he's probably not gonna win, so just kind of stop playing.
Just avoid the beating, huh?
Right.
Do you remember the first time you dunked?
Yes, my first in-game dunk was in an AAU game over the summer. Just got a fast break dunk, and it's a really good feeling. So yeah, my first dunk was over the summer in an AAU game.
Ever tried to dunk on Dad?
No, he has never tried to step in the way, so.
He knows better, huh?
Right, yeah.
And can you give me your best impression of your dad?
Well, my dad's never been like a yeller or a screamer, so I know when he's mad or I make a turnover or something, I can look up in the stands and just gives me a certain look with his eyes and just kind of looks down at me, and that's when I know I messed up or I'm in trouble. So,
you know, to pick it up, get it together, huh?
Right, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. We're going to hear a little bit more from Brian and his dad a little bit later, so make sure you stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining us today. You're watching Around the Mick.
Tom Wood's lifetime powertrain coverage includes the 4 most important systems in your vehicle for unlimited miles and unlimited time at no cost to you. Protection from expensive repairs for a lifetime. Find the car you want the way you want at tomwood.com.
The Mick Network Game of the Week is a proud product of Frontrunner Media's Next Generation Initiative. Thanks to Frontrunner, the Mick Network Game of the Week allows students around the Mick to get hands-on experience while working alongside media professionals. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by the hardworking students that make it possible. The Mick Network, led by students, powered by champions.
You can't put a price on peace of mind, so we don't. With Tom Wood's lifetime powertrain coverage, you're protected for unlimited miles and unlimited time, all at no cost to you. Find the car you want the way you want at tomwood.com.
Welcome back to Around the Mick. I've got the Waddells now, father-son duo here. Now, Matt is not a coach, but he is somebody of importance to Indiana basketball. Graduated from Tipton in 1990, went on to Purdue, and was able to play under legendary coach Gene Cady. Graduated in 95, and then back in 2017, got inducted into the Indiana High School Hall of Fame. So, Matt, thanks so much for joining us, bringing Brian along. Not too bad, too. But talk about growing up in the aspect of Hoosier hysteria that really has affected pretty much your entire life.
Yeah, it has. I mean, I grew up here in Indiana. My dad was a high school basketball coach when I was younger, coached me growing up, so it's been part of my life, part of my family forever. You know, it's obviously important here in the state of Indiana, and him being a coach, I was able to meet and be around a lot of great high school players, high school coaches, so it really made an impact to me and learn the game at a different level and really appreciate it.
So you not only played for your dad a little bit, now you have Brian here, who's not too bad, but talk about that evolution now, you know, playing for your dad. Now you have your son playing. You know, what kind of coach, you know, even though you're not his coach, but what type of coaching do you do as his dad?
Well, I think, you know, I learned a lot from my dad, and he and I are very similar, you know, in just understanding the game and trying to teach more than anything. As he said earlier, I'm not really a yeller and a screamer, but just trying to teach kids the right way to play, how to play hard, how to play as a team. And that's what I tried to teach Brian growing up. And Carmel certainly eludes that. They are the ultimate team, defensively, offensively, so it's been a good transition for Brian. He knew how to play that way and plays that way very well.
How old were you when you knew, you know, your dad wasn't too bad at basketball?
Pretty much right away, I guess. You have people every once in a while that'll come up in the street and recognize him from the 90s, so that's when you know your dad was...
That was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Right? Yeah, so that's when you know your dad was pretty decent back in the day. So.
Yeah. So talk about then that evolution. We've seen it, you know, highlighted by a lot of famous father-sons. Talk about dad as dad first, and then dad, you know, as like what you talked about, the guy who gets recognized sometimes around the street.
Well, like you said, they're pretty similar. Like, they never have the urge to like yell or scream at anybody like that. My dad's just a thinker. He's always been a thinker, and that's on and off the court. And I think that's just kind of carried over both ways. And just around the house, he's like very caring for us, obviously, and that goes for basketball too. He's always supporting me, making sure I'm doing well and what I need to for school and stuff like that. So just really thankful for that.
There's no Gene Katie coming out of there, though? None of that, really?
No.
Really? Talk about this team now and being able to, you know, kind of just elevate your game, elevate your seasons, elevate your career at a place like Carmel.
This team right now, it's been a lot of fun. Like, we have most of our guys coming back, missing one guy from last year, but we were all pretty disappointed, a little bit angry last year that our season got short. So we're just excited, confident right now to pick it back up and just picking up right back where we left off and just not going to look back from here.
Talk about being a father and having a kid play. You have the COVID, being able to have social distancing and whatnot, but he's been able to play at a high level, been able to get games in. That still must be nice to see, especially since, the year that we're having.
Yeah, it's been great. It's, as he said, last year, Carmel's hard, to get on the court. It's very competitive, and Brian finally kind of had his time, had his year through last year, and seeing that get cut short was hard to see. It was tough on him. So I'm just glad that the school and the state is committed to doing it and doing it safely. They're finding ways to do it the right way, make sure the kids are safe, the fans are safe, but they're committed to letting these kids compete and have a senior season. So I'm very thankful for that.
Talk about your senior season. It's been a little bit iffy because we didn't know if we were going to get a season in. Now we've got it. We've got somewhat of a game plan, even though that's flexible. But like your dad said, we got the IHSA monitoring things. We've been able to get games in, but it's that season that was last year. Now we've got the season that is and currently happening. What's the motivation?
Just staying optimistic, I guess. Just knowing that the season's going to continue. And even when we not 100% sure, but every time we get to step on the court, we're seeing that as we're lucky to play, and we're not going to go out with any regrets. And yeah, just mainly staying optimistic and not looking back, I guess.
Are you anything like your dad as a ball player?
Say we have very similar shooting, I guess. We can both shoot it a little bit, but when it comes to athleticism, I think a little higher up on that.
Dad's shaking his head. I don't know.
I can't argue with that.
Sure. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us here on the Round the Mick. Best of luck for the rest of your regular season, and hopefully we get a state tournament here in the spring. Matt, thanks so much for joining us as well. Thanks so much for the Waddells for joining us on the Round the Mick. We've got Aaliyah with another special guest.
Thank you, Bill. We're here at the lovely Tom Wood Nissan car dealership, and I'm here with Tay Davis. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. Now, this weekend, you made a big decision. Tell us a little bit about that. You decided to commit to the University of Louisville. Tell us a little bit about your decision-making process and how you feel now that the whole world knows.
I prayed about it over and over. I talked to my family about it, my brother, and I know it's the best decision for me. So I made it, and I'm happy to be a Cardinal.
Awesome. Can't wait to see you two on the court again. Are you excited to be back on the court with your brother?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. If he's there while I'm there, then it'll definitely be exciting. That's something that I'm definitely looking into.
And we're excited to see it as well. Speaking of your brother, your dad's coaching you at Warren Central. Your brother is top talent in state playing at Louisville now. How competitive is that household?
Very. It goes down from my dad, mom, my brother, me, everybody in the family competitive.
Who's the most competitive, do you think?
That's a challenging question. Pretty much everybody the same way.
Who's winning most of the time?
I'm always say me.
All right, speaking of winning, one-on-one against you and your brother, who's winning?
I got me all day.
One-on-one versus you and your dad, who's winning?
I got me.
21 against all three of you guys, who's winning? And by how much?
Me, 21-0.
I love the confidence. I love the confidence. So what is it like having your dad as a coach?
It's been great, phenomenal. Just being able, when we get a win, I'm happy to see him, happy to get a win for him, different things like that. He's been teaching me different things, growing as a player with him, so it's been great.
That's awesome. And do you remember the first time you ever dunked? Tell me a little bit about that story.
I think it was my 8th grade year. When I got my first dunk, I was on video, and I hit up everybody. I said it to everybody.
Check this out. This is me. Was that you?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome. Have you ever dunked on Dad?
He moved out the way every time, so I don't think I ever dunked on him.
What about your brother?
I think it's the same thing. I don't think maybe in practice, but I don't think so.
You guys ever try to set Dad up and throw each other oop and like catch him off guard?
We probably did one time.
When's the last time you and your brother played one-on-one, and who won?
In quarantine, but I don't think we finished the game because we had an altercation. It always end up competitive like that.
Real competitive. Hey, I wouldn't expect anything more or less than from a competitive household. Last question. Give me your best impression of your dad. What's something that he says all the time that if you were to call up your brother or talk to Mom and you were like, you know, Dad said, what would it be?
Every time we playing, he always say, you got to play with some heart. That's probably the best impression I could give.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We have more to come with Tay Davis and his dad, Coach Davis. You don't want to miss this. Once again, we are here live at the Nissan Tom Wood dealership. You're watching Around the Mick.
At Tom Wood, we believe you can't put a price on peace of mind, so we don't. With Tom Wood's lifetime powertrain coverage, you're protected for unlimited miles. At Tom Wood, we believe you can't put a price on peace of mind, so we don't. With Tom Wood's lifetime powertrain coverage, you're protected for unlimited miles and unlimited time, all at no cost to you. Find the car you want, the way you want at tomwood.com.
Thank Colin Pop Jones. Cumberland, this is Kyle speaking.
Welcome back to Around the Mick. Bill White here with the Davises from Warren Central. Coach Davis, Tay Davis, the junior standout right now. And first off, Coach, it's been a weird year. COVID doesn't exactly help out. Practices doesn't help out anything. But your first head coaching job here at Warren Central and making sure that you can figure out your way through it. But then also you got to add on the fact that we have restrictions. We have other things going on. So first, welcome to the show. Talk about your experiences and just getting settled in at Warren Central.
Well, actually, it's been pretty seamless, I would say. I mean, the things that I'm doing now, it seems like the things I've been doing for the past 19 years. A little bit more responsibility because you got a lot more people that's relying upon you, but outside of that, it's been pretty seamless.
All right. And of course, you know, not new to coaching though, 6 years at LC, and you got to coach a few notable Davises. So first off, talk about, you know, coaching your sons. What's that like from your perspective?
Well, I've coached my oldest, Dre Davis, ever since he was in the second grade. So, you know, it's been a process. I tell you, we've learned a lot over those years. And so I think Tay has it a lot easier just because we worked out the kinks together, Dre and I. So, but it's been good. It's been fun because I think teaching them the game is the most important and valuable thing that you can do as a father and as a coach. A lot of times kids don't understand the game, and I think that's what they need the most.
Played at Central Missouri State, so you know basketball at a high level. Your son, DeAndre Davis Jr., now at Louisville. This one committed to Louisville not too long ago. Talk about, though, that not many dads have been able to play at a high level basketball-wise. Talk about that experience and what's helped you give them an experience that's unlike most kids.
So, you know, I play basketball, but I wasn't a star. So we have a basketball family, I would say. Mm-hmm. My brothers, my sister, their mom, I mean, she was a stud. So you want to talk about a basketball player, we need to talk about her. She was the stud. So it's just I learned a lot from the game, and then, you know, just playing at that level, being able to be coached, and also to watch other great coaches. Even, you know, I've been at Lawrence Central for 19 years, so I was under some good coaches, and just watched a lot of things that they've done, and was able to give that to them at an early age. So, and we're just constantly trying to grow and get better.
Tay grew up mostly in the Lawrence area and now over at Warren Central, and somewhat in the shadow of your brother, but now not so much anymore. Now you're the standout. Talk about that evolution, being able to see how Dre did it, how he and your dad were able to manifest a relationship not just with basketball but with father-son. Now it's your turn to be able to really kind of take the reins and be a standout basketball player under your dad.
Everything Dre did, I kind of took it in because he helped me be the player I am today. So everything really came from him and my pops, my mom as well. So even with this recruitment process, I took it in. He helped me with everything, pretty much. He was like my role model.
Absolutely, absolutely. And not a bad role model to have right there. And it's right there, sometimes just down the room instead of down the street, it's just a couple doors down, right? So talk about then now, your game versus Dre's game. It's a little different, but still, again, something to where it's you guys were primarily trying to get the ball to the hoop as quickly as possible.
Me and Dre's game, like you said, it's different. I'm trying to get some pieces of his game and my game as well. He just taught me a lot of things, like he can get in the post and do different things like that. I've been trying to learn that, different things like that. So he's helped me with that. So it's been improving my game.
So like playing for your dad?
Playing with my dad, it's been great. He's been able to teach me many different things like that. It's been phenomenal. When we get a win, just being happy for him to get the win. So it's been great.
Talk about the experience of being the head coach. You've been the coach, but now you're head coach, and you obviously are coaching your son, but also you have quite a few other sons to work with. So talk about that process that you've learned so far this year.
Absolutely. So when we're in the game, and there's no difference. They're all my kids. Honestly, we're trying to do the best. I'm trying to get them in school. We're trying to win. We trying to accomplish a lot all in one game. So. It's been great. Everybody's attentive. They're wanting to learn. They're working hard. I mean, every day they're becoming a team. So.
What was it like when not just Tay, but when you had the idea, like, okay, he might have it. He might have what it takes. Talk about that moment.
For which one?
Either one.
Well, when we said that he had it, he was in YMCA league. It was early on. It was just some of the things that he was doing, and then he had a setback with his surgery and all of that, and then he fought to get back to where he is today. So we're extremely proud of him. And then for Deontay, it was him getting beat up by his older brother, and then him turning the corner and saying you can't do it anymore. So we knew that he had it too. And then he's just so much more athletic, and he just has natural skills and things. So we seen that early on too, and we were just like, man, he's going to be okay.
What was it like playing against? Was it Dad, Dre versus you? Was it you and Dre versus Dad? What were the teams like growing up? Because Mom apparently she could play too. So was Mom getting in there as well?
It was more free for all, everybody for themselves. 21, we played that a lot.
Yeah.
If not that, then it's one-on-one. Either one of us against our dad, or me and Dre, pretty much.
Absolutely. Weird season so far, but still we get a season. We've been able to get some games in there. Talk about those sidelines and how it is adjusting now. You being able to have the reins, call plays, making sure that it's because this is your team now.
Absolutely. It's been great. I've always wanted that, and I've always wanted the ability to be able to make the decision, and I hadn't had that in the past. So it's been interesting, and I say that I'm learning every day, and I think that the process is only going to get better, and we just taking it one day at a time.
Does he ever question your calls and be like, Dad, come on now, no, we got to go this play?
Yeah, some and it's okay because I think that they're learning and they want to understand why. So just explaining to them so they understand what it is that I'm trying to get them to do and why, and so now they'll do it even harder. So okay. Now we're all on the same page. You know why you're doing it. Now execute.
There have been a lot of good ball players that come from this conference and come from these schools that haven't won a state title. What's the motivation for you and this Warren Central team to be able to, fortune's hopefully setting us up for a state tournament this spring, but what's that motivation like to know that you've seen some kids, you see some guys that may have gone on to a Division I school, may have played at the NBA, have not won a state title. What's that motivation like?
So when I grew up, in Lawrence, and him coaching at Lawrence, I seen how Kyle Guy felt. I seen how, C.J. Walker felt. I seen how a lot of the older guys felt and different things like that. Especially last year, I see how my brother felt and Nigel not winning the state championship. So, I want to do it for my dad. I want to do it for them, my brothers, and that's my motivation, really.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, both Davises, thank you so much for joining us here around the MIC. Best of luck. Stay healthy, stay safe. Make sure continued success there with the Warriors there, Coach Davis. Thanks, guys, for joining us here and around the MIC. We've got more from Aaliyah coming up.
Thank you so much, Bill, and thank you for everyone who came out today. It was a pleasure hearing from the coaches, the players, their parents. It truly was a gift. We also want to thank the folks here at Tom Wood Nissan Car Dealership for allowing us to be here today. Stay tuned. We have so much more in store for you. You don't want to miss this. You are watching Around the MIC.
Two vehicles, same model, same color, same price. The difference? The Tom Wood vehicle is a better value because it comes with our exclusive lifetime powertrain coverage at no cost to you. Find the car you want the way you want at tomwood.com.
Welcome back to Around the MIC and the final segment of the night here from Tom Wood Nissan. And Colin, we talked about football, we're in basketball. What was some of the, because you called a few games, what are some of the keys that you've seen so far from some of the teams around the MIC?
Just the aggression. I mean, playing aggressive while also being clean. For a lot of those MIC teams, you're facing top contenders in the state game after game. If you don't play aggressive, you're not going to have a good outcome. If you play sloppy, you're not going to have a good outcome. So really just kind of putting those two key elements together is really kind of the pinnacle play that every MIC team needs to look for.
Leah, what's the biggest takeaway from tonight from those players? It seemed like, each one of them, we can put them on ESPN, they're going to give us the same responses that we all know and love from all of their favorite athletes.
Well, I think it's great to see them from a different perspective. We were able to see, what's their family dynamic like at home. We know when we see them competing at this top level game after game, but actually seeing where their mind is at and seeing what pushes them. I think the most interesting thing that I learned tonight, that from the Davis family, their mom says she is the most competitive, hands down, and she can take them anytime, any day, any place.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Let's thank some sponsors.
So we would definitely like to thank the Tom Wood Automotive Group, Front Runner Media, and I'm blanking. I don't know why we have so many, and we are thankful for all of them, and we especially want to thank the Marriott East for all of their contributions they've done this year, keeping us afloat. I know that we've had a lot of changes, not only on the sports side and a lot of different regulations, but I thank you to our sponsors, and thank you for everyone for keeping us safe here on the crew and here as talent, and allowing us the opportunity to make shows like this happen.
And I want to thank the crew especially for allowing this to happen. You can't have anything like this without the crew. And so I want to say thanks and appreciation for all their hard work. And they've got, even though we got all our masks, everything else, we're, following COVID protocols, we're very appreciative of being able to have a show. Thank you, Aaliyah, for coming out again and your fantastic hosting abilities. And thank you to Colin for your insight as well here for the MIC conference. I'm Bill White here. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Round the MIC.